Welcome, good morning. My name is Mrs. Wenger. My office is up the front office, and my title is Director of Advancement. You'll see me doing lots of things, from taking pictures to interviewing people and sitting in meetings. So welcome to middle school, watching from your classrooms, and it's so great to have high school here in person. Looks like people have found their seat, and thank you for quieting down as we get started. That's our routine. We don't know, since it takes a bit to get settled and we're getting in our routine, just to let you know, if things go a little long and the bell rings, don't stress out. We'll just finish out our chapel and you'll be dismissed and you won't be counted late to second block if it gets a little long. So our chapel this morning is called What Is This Place? Some of you have been here at school for a few years and some of you are new, so I thought it'd be good to spend a little time learning about this place. The first thing I wanted to do is recognize that this place has been inhabited for tens of thousands of years by indigenous people before Europeans settled in the Shenandoah Valley. Eastern Mennonite School in Harrisonburg, Virginia is on the traditional land of the Monacan and Manahoac peoples. It's important that we acknowledge that and become familiar with the story of who was here before, because we want to continually learn and be good stewards of this land. The site where current Eastern Mennonite University sits, which we were part of way back, the site was purchased in 1910. And you can see other milestones here on this slide from the very early years of this school, which started out as a Bible school, a 2-year Bible school. And we could have another whole chapel or two on that story. We're going to skip ahead to an important part of our history and a marker you might see if you go running or walk up to Park Woods with your class or go up to the track at EMU. So Park School, you see this picture here. It actually has a little water fountain on it. And this marker says that Park School was built in 1929. And it began as it was called then Eastern Mennonite Elementary School in 1918. And the school, what's interesting about this is it was officially integrated with both students who were black and white in 1964. And at that time, that was illegal in the state of Virginia. But our Mennonite school helped to make it possible for black students to join our school. The principal then was John Scott Bender. And I didn't confirm this, but I'm pretty sure that'd be Miss Archer's grandfather or great-grandfather, because her maiden name was Bender, and I know her family were movers and shakers. So this is just a marker to commemorate and celebrate the many students who were educated at that school. It may be of interest to you to know that this actual building was built in 1964, and that's the year I was born, 57 years ago. You see there the kind of cars people were driving then. That's the front of the school, and that picture to the right is our bed right inside the front portico. And at that point, high school students were separated from the college students, and many of them, they had a great moving event where they helped to carry books down from the library and settle in at this building. We're going to hear now about 4 people who have markers placed on this campus in honor of their memory. Our community holds a lot of happy stories, but we also support each other in sad times. And placing markers is a way that we remember people who've been part of our community and died. The first one is from 1985. And Duong Liu was an 8th grader that year. And that year, living in Harrisonburg, his family had a carbon monoxide leak in their home. And all of the family was overcome with fumes, which is painless but can be deadly. And the rest of Duong's family recovered from the exposure, but he did not, and he died. And you can imagine that was a really big event in this school community. And so the school, you can see students standing behind where they planted a tree and put a marker in his honor. And this image is a copy from the yearbook that year where they remembered Duong. And now Miss Blosser will do the second one.
Good morning. My name is Trisha Blosser, and I work in development here. So I engage our stakeholders. Those are your families, supporters from our community, and our alumni, or students who graduated from EMS. Brad Moyers was a student who died in 1991. He was a student here at EMS, and that was the summer after his junior year. And I remember him. I was an 8th grader here at the time when he was a junior, and we had assigned seats in chapel, much as you do today, and we sat next to each other. So I remember him as being very quiet, but he was also very friendly for someone who was much younger than he was. So just a little bit about him to share his story. He played soccer. He helped manage the baseball team, and he participated in the Technology Student Association. He had a younger sister. Her name was Laura Moyers. She's now Laura Campbell, and she graduated in 1993. And his parents are Carol and Lois Moyers, and they still live in Bergton, Virginia. A former administrator remembers him as being a really hard worker, and one of his classmates said he was someone who liked to help people. So it made sense that his dream was to become a firefighter. And in the summer after his junior year, he just started a new position as a volunteer firefighter, and he was really excited about that. Unfortunately, on the first day on his way home from that, he fell asleep at the wheel and died tragically in a car accident. So there's a plaque in his memory, you can see in the pictures, by one of the trees by the varsity soccer field to remember him. And when I recently talked with one of his classmates, he said that I'm glad people are taking the time to remember he was at EMS. So thank you for helping us to remember him and his time here.
This next slide is about the Edna M. Yoder Memorial Garden. This plaque, placed in 1984, and if you can't recognize that space, it's kind of outside the dining hall between the side entrance near the dining hall. The plaque says that Edna was an advocate of Christian education and that the garden was established with gifts from family and friends. I'm in my 4th year of working here now, but I did not know this garden existed until this past summer. So I've been happy to see Mr. Lehman some days out there watering those to keep his promise to Mr. Yoder that we would care for the plants that their family purchased and the place that they created to beautify our campus to honor Edna. The fourth story we're here today is from Lori Trissel, who I'll invite here in just a moment. She's going to talk about her daughter, Christy. And I was really happy that Lori agreed to come and share about Christy today. Lori and I lived in the EMHS dorm. I don't know if people know that there used to be a dorm for boarding students, and we were in the dorm together, Maplewood, right up here on the road. She was a senior and I was a junior living together, and I'm really honored that she agreed to come and share with us today.
Good morning. I'm Lori Trissel, and I feel like it's a very privileged to share with you guys today. I want to thank you for this opportunity to share with you about my daughter, Christy. She was an EMHS student and had just finished her freshman year. Just gotten her learner's permit the week before she passed, and so she was very excited about that. Something as simple as a Sunday afternoon drive to open gym here at EMHS turned tragic when my daughter lost her life in an accident. She would not want us to be remembered by this accident, but would like us to remember her life, a life full of amazing friends, bonfires in the backyard, complete with s'mores and group dates with movies and slumber parties. Christy's brightness in a dark world with smiles that would light up in these dark days and many ways in the hallways of EMHS. Smiles that would brighten her mother's world. She loved her sister, Amy, and her baby brother, Kyle. There were times in the middle of the night when Kyle was just a baby that Christy would beat me to get Kyle and bring him to me. And if you know teenagers, you know how important sleep is, and she was, same as most teenagers, loves that sleep, but this was an unusual act of kindness for her mother. She loved her youth group and had just gotten back from convention a youth convention in Toronto, Canada, where she found a renewal for her relationship with Christ and came home on fire for the Lord. I would like to share a verse that Christy had memorized, and it's in Psalms 121. I will lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He watches over you and will not slumber. Indeed, he watches over Israel, will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. I just want to practice one little thing that might keep you in mind of what EMHS is about and about caring for each other. I want everybody to raise their hand and place it over your heart. You know that you carry any loved ones that are gone right here in your heart. So when you're missing your loved one, hand over your heart here with you. Keep calm and carry on. Thank you.
I feel like I'm standing on sacred ground, and we are indeed on sacred ground. I'd like to just pause before we move on and prayer and have a prayer. Before I do that, I did want to mention that Miss Roth, Shannon Roth, was a classmate of Christy's and played softball with her. And you can ask her more about Christy and her experience with getting to know her and losing her if you'd like. So join me in a brief prayer. Thank you, God, for these stories and this reminder of people who've been here before us and died too young. And help us, God, to honor their memory. Help us to cherish each day with each other. And bless this sacred ground that we walk on as a community. And be with us as we walk with each other this year, both in sad times, hard times, and in good times. Amen. So a little bit about some other places on campus that I thought it'd be important for you to know about. This bridge is a place that's often filled with joy and happiness and the sounds of our elementary school classmates and friends. It connects what we call the upper building and the lower building where the elementary students are. And it's not just a functional bridge. It provides cover for lunch and learning on rainy days, in addition to being a footpath for people. Lots of good memories are being made there. If you go down during elementary school drop-off on Wednesday, you'll see Mr. Bauman, who wears a different hat each time he does drop-off. And on special days like yesterday, the first day of school, he'll wear a full-blown costume. This is a JMU marching band costume he recently acquired, and he's playing a recorder. We are really grateful to the many donors, some of your parents and grandparents, as well as class members from the class of 2019 who gave money to help fund this project. And you can see their names or Bible verses or other words of encouragement on the bricks at the end of the bridge toward the elementary building. Many of you, although those of you in 6th grade who were in our elementary school do know about, many of you don't know, but those students do know about our elementary outdoor learning and play area. Mr. Bauman has led efforts to create a space that incorporates natural products and recycled materials like logs, trees, tree stumps, and giant tires. Each class in the elementary school also has an outdoor classroom, and there's a fabulous path I recently discovered that goes along the stream down there. Those of you in this upper building to figure out a way to get down there and explore that and play sometime. Maybe it's something a class meeting could do. Maybe it's something big and little pairs could do together. If your pair is somebody who went to the elementary school, they could show you around. Just be sure to connect with Miss Archer if you're taking a group down to find out and make sure it doesn't conflict with something else that's happening there. And last, I'd like to talk a bit about class gifts. Every year, our senior class pools their funds that they've collected over the years and chooses something to support for the school in their class honor. So you may see some signs around campus noting these. I don't have a comprehensive list to share right now, but here's a few I'd want you to notice. In the lower right hand of this slide, you see that the brick base out front where our sign is located was a gift from the class of 1965. So that would have been right after the school moved into this brand new building. They decided as a class, let's help fund something so we can put a good sign out front. That's not the original sign, but the base is strong and has served us well. The furniture that you see on the lower left-hand side is an example of the kind of tables and benches we're going to be getting out front of the dining hall for lunch. Right now, every school in the country is spending more time outside, and they all want picnic tables and benches. So these are on order and should be coming soon. These items are gifts from the classes of 2020 and 21, and they wanted to make gifts for the school to support outdoor learning in honor of their experience with COVID-19. So we'll add a plaque somewhere that explains and celebrates that generosity. In the upper right corner, some of you may have enjoyed these comfortable blue Adirondack chairs demonstrated here by Naomi Diener, I believe. These, is that right? Do I have right? Who's there? I think I can't see her face. But these chairs were a gift from the class of 2018, and they get a lot of use and are really great community buildings. So when you enjoy these or see a plaque, now you know a little bit about the story and why we have class gifts. So we're going to close revisiting the question, what is this place? And we're going to sing the song that some of you may find familiar if your church sings it or if you've been here in the past. We're learning how to sing together. It's been a year and a half. Those of you who are involved can start coming up. It's been a long time since we've sung together, and here we are, just half of the students, and we're spread out far, and you have on masks, so it's like not the ideal singing environment. So we have some helpers here. They're going to get us going, and Mr. Stutzman's going to lead. You can look at the words up on the screen, or you can pull out your hymnal if you like to use a blue hymnal, and it's number 1 in that hymnal. So thank you all for helping.